Once upon a time, in the rich and sun-kissed village of Ezioke, there lived a strikingly handsome and fiercely brave young king named Amuche. His strength, wisdom, and radiant charm were the pride of the land, especially among the maidens. Whispers of his good looks and noble character danced through every household like evening firelight. Amuche had just ascended the throne after the sudden passing of his father, King Ebekwe, a reverend leader whose shoes were difficult to fill. He was crowned swiftly, not out of ceremony but necessity. The ruthless king Ofodili, ruler of the neighboring kingdom, had eyes for Ezioke's fertile land, and the people knew if the throne was left vacant that he would strike when they least expected. Though the weight of the crown now sat on Amuche's head, he carried it with dignity. His palace was filled with beauty, both architectural and in women who came from all corners of the land just to be noticed by the king. But Amuche wasn't impressed. He wanted someone different, someone who saw him beyond his royal robes and golden crown, someone who touched his soul just like his title. One warm evening, after a long day filled with endless council meetings and border disputes, Amuche slumped onto the grand lion's king couch, eyes closed, mind buzzing. Just as he was beginning to doze off, a warm musical voice chimed in. "My king, forgive me for disturbing you, but the queen has asked me to wash your feet." His eyes opened slowly. Standing before him was a young woman, her head bowed, holding a stainless basin. Her voice was like wind through tall grasses, gentle but captivating. "Sure," he said, sitting up slightly. She knelt gracefully, laying out a woven mat. Her hands were small, delicate, yet firm as she moved his sandals and dipped his feet into the warm water. Amuche swallowed. He was no stranger to such treatment. But this felt different. Her touch wasn't just service, it was almost spiritual. Her fingers danced across his feet with an odd mix of innocence and sexuality. And while she stayed composed, Amuche sat there unusually flustered, his heart pacing like a warrior's drum. He didn't even know her name, yet in that moment, he swore he saw the world in her bowed head. When she was done, she dried his feet with a soft cloth, applied soothing oil, bowed and quietly left. He couldn't breathe for a moment. Who was she? How had she stirred something in him by doing so little? Days passed, and Muche found himself scanning the palace corridors and courtyards with hungry eyes, hoping to see the mysterious girl again. Yet she was nowhere to be found. At a council meeting with allied kings, he noticed something. Every king had brought his queen, each adorned in jewels and silk. Amuche stood there alone. Suddenly, her image, soft brown eyes, gentle touch, floating in his mind. He smiled absent-mindedly. "Hey, hey, my friend, who is making your heart smile like this?" teased King Boma, clapping Amuche's back with a laugh. "Nothing serious," Amuche replied, straight-faced. "You are smiling as though you hit a jackpot, or maybe the royal bed was won last night, eh?" The group erupted in laughter. That evening, Amuche decided to visit his queen mother. "Mama," he greeted, bowing slightly. "There's this maid. She washed my feet the other day. You sent her." "I have sent many," his mother replied, sipping from her clay cup. "Describe her." Just as he tried to fumble through unclear features, the girl walked past them, carrying a woven basket. That one, he pointed softly. His mother turned and smiled. "Ah, Azuka, why do you ask?" I don't know, just curious. I haven't seen her around before." The queen mother leaned back, raising her brow like a woman who had seen far too much in her lifetime. "Azuka has been here for nearly 20 years. She was found in the forest by one of our hunters. Your father thought she might be a trap, sent by our enemies. But I sensed something different. I begged him to let me keep her. After weeks of watching her closely, we saw she was just lost. Frightened child. No tribe marks, no name, just a baby wrapped in strange cloth. 20 years, Anuche murmured. Did father ever? Of course he loved her, my child. But you were always running about with tutors, hunting, preparing to be king. I think that's the reason you never met her before. Amuche nodded and stood. Okay, Mama, I'll retire to my chambers. It's been a long day. She said, watching him with knowing eyes. You are not just curious, but I won't push. Back in his chambers, Amuche lay awake. He wasn't foolish. He knew love could make kings reckless. Worse still, Azuka was a palace maid and an orphan. There was no way to trace her lineage, no political benefit to such a match. But politics be damned. His heart had already begun to whisper secrets his mind wasn't ready to admit. A part of him feared this feeling. Another part welcomed it like the first rain after Harmattan. Since that night, Azuka washed his feet. King Amuche had grown strangely restless. The mighty warrior who once faced entire war councils without blinking now found himself waiting at windows just to catch a glimpse of a maiden fetching water. If he didn't see her, he definitely felt her absence. And when she did appear, usually 3 times a day, he studied her like a scholar reading ancient scrolls. She, however, was an entirely different story. Polite, graceful, and dodging his attention like a chicken avoiding pepper soup duty. One evening, as she laid his meal of steaming yam porridge and spicy goat's meat before him, he cleared his throat dramatically. Azuka, he began, hoping his voice didn't tremble like it did in his head. Do you enjoy serving in the palace? Yes, my king. Have you always lived here? Yes, my king. Do you ever smile? She kept quiet. She was already halfway out the door, carrying the empty tray like it held royal secrets. That girl runs faster than a thief with hot ground pepper in his pants, Amuche muttered to himself, sighing. That evening, Azuka returned to the Queen Mother's quarters with more questions than answers. Mama, she began, fiddling with the hem of her wrapper. That was what she always called the Queen Mother when they were alone. Mama, why do you keep sending me to serve the king? She asked softly. The queen looked up from her beaded calabash. An amused sparkle in her eyes. Ah, my daughter, you have eyes, but you cannot see. See what Mama, Azuka asked, confused. The queen chuckled and set her calabash down. For years, King Amuche has been surrounded by beautiful young women who paraded around like peacocks during Harmattan festivals. Yet, he never asked me about a single one. So him asking about me is a good thing? Azuka asked, still unsure. Chimo, the queen laughed, clutching her chest. Azuka, your innocence will be the death of me. Don't worry, you will find out soon enough. Azuka left, shaking her head, confused and blushing. The king's eyes had now turned into trained hunter's eyes. He didn't just see Azuka, he watched her with an intensity that could boil okra. Realizing this, Azuka began Operation Disappear. She started sending other maids in her place, creating excuses and even faking a limp one day. Though that only lasted until she got outside. One evening, a guard entered her hut with a message. The king wishes to see you. Azuka blinked, heart racing. Tell him I'm ill, she said, clutching her stomach and giving the best weak cough she could muster. The guard hesitated. You want me to lie to the king? Do you know how many strokes of cane I will collect if he finds out? I'll pray for you, Azuka whispered dramatically. The guard sighed, muttered a quick prayer and left. She was lying on her mat, practicing how to look convincingly sick when she felt the air shift. A powerful presence filled the room. She turned and froze. There in his royal glory stood King Amuche. His broad fame filled the doorway like a carved sculpture, his eyes thunder and fire. "So, you sent the guards to light your king," he said, voice deep and dangerous. Azuka's heart dropped. She dropped to her knees instantly. "My king, please, I'm sorry. Punish me however you see fit." Amuche didn't speak. He simply stepped forward, scooped her effortlessly into his arms like she weighed no more than a tuber of yam, and walked out. "My king, what are you doing? People are watching," she whispered, panicking. "Let them watch," he said, not breaking stride. He carried her into his chamber and laid her gently on the bed. She scrambled to the corner, hugging her knees like a frightened goat. "You have been avoiding me," Amuche said, voice softer now. "I'm sorry," Azuka replied, head bowed. "Look at me when I speak to you," he said, suddenly raising his voice. She flinched like someone expecting a slap, and tears pooled in her eyes. Realizing her fear, he sighed, walked over and sat beside her. When she shifted away, he gently held her wrist. "Please, don't run away from me." She glanced at him, then looked away. "I like you, Azuka. I think about you every day. Do you not feel the same?" She shook her head, voice shaking. "I'm sorry, my king. I feel nothing. Look at me." He tilted her chin until their eyes met, and for the first time he truly saw her. Vulnerable, scared, beautiful. "You are so beautiful, Azuka, and kind, and smart. You are a queen without the crown." "But I am just a maid, an orphan. I'm not fit for your affection." "Rubbish," he said. "You are not beneath anyone." She blinked, lips slightly parted. "I have wanted you since the moment you touched my feet," he said. "You are like the cold stream I need in the heat of noon." "Hmm?" she mumbled, unsure if it was a protest or a prayer. He leaned in slightly and kissed her. She resisted at first, arms stiff at her side, but gradually melted into the warmth of it like butter on hot yam. He didn't let things go too far that night. As much as he wanted her, he respected her. In the days that followed, Azuka opened up. He discovered she had a loud mouth and an even louder laugh. She told stories, she gossiped, she once even imitated the palace chief who always fell asleep during council meetings. "My king, should I talk less?" she asked one day. "If you talk less, who will make me laugh?" He didn't just want a wife, he wanted a partner, a friend, a woman who could challenge him and roast him when necessary. But love in the palace was never simple. Rumors swirled through the corridors like harmattan dust. The king and the orphan maid? She must have used jars. No ordinary maid enters the king's chambers and leaves smiling. Her. The king could have any princess. Why her? Some were happy, others weren't, and the queen mother, she just sipped her palm wine and said, "Let love do what politics cannot do." The queen mother being like the midday sun, her son, King Amuche, had not only found love, he had married it. After months of courtship, whispering eyes, stolen moments, and enough romantic tension to boil yam in cold water, Amuche and Azuka finally tied the knot. It was a celebration fit for legend. Kings, queens, and nobles gathered from far and wide, gifts piled up like anthill after rain. Music floated the air, and the village of Ezioke danced for 3 days straight. Among the visitors was King Ofodili, ruler of the neighboring kingdom, and a man whose smile was as deceptive as a goat's calm before it eats your cassava leaves. Years ago, he had signed a peace treaty with Amuche, but his eyes always wandered to Ezioke's rich land. Amuche and Azuka's love blossomed like a hibiscus in harmattan. Gone were the days where Azuka ran off to her hut after speaking to the king. Now she shared his bed, his laughter, his life. One evening, after making love for the first time, Amuche rolled over and whispered, Azuka, you are more than a wife. You are peace in human form. She giggled and replied, and you are my royal headache. They laughed until the palace walls echoed. Whenever Amuche wasn't handling royal matters, he was by her side, feeding her groundnuts and telling her stories about his past life. In a dusty, faraway village, trouble wore the face of a young girl named Ugo. Beautiful, sharp-tongued, and mad as a mosquito in a closed room. She lived with her poor parents and caused them nothing but grief. She cursed like a drunk sailor, stole their food, sold their yams and gari, and used the money for beads, wrapper, and palm wine. One day, she saw her father bury a clay pot behind their house. Her curiosity grew wings. As soon as he left the house, Ugo grabbed a hole, dug it up, and oh mamma mia, inside was a stash of money. She squirreled, ran into the market, and returned home dripping in new clothes and bangles, walking like a warrior's third wife on a market day. Ugo, where did you get all these? Her mother asked. My boyfriend bought them for me, she shrugged. Which boyfriend? You change them more than you change your wrapper. Ugo, let it not be what I am thinking, her father said. He just wanted to be sure, so he stormed to the back of the hut. The clay pot was empty. Ugo, what have you done? He screamed, coughing violently. Papa, breathe. I just wanted to look nice for once. That cough turned into a full-blown stroke. Her father collapsed and became bedridden. Weeks later, Ugo began throwing up, sleeping all day and refusing food. Her mother feared the worst. She did the test with salt water. Ugo, you are pregnant. Who is the father? She asked. I was only with 3 men this month, Ugo replied casually. Hey, whoa, this girl. So when you leave my house, you become a bush minister of pleasure. You don't know how to sweep or cook, but you know how to open your legs in the bush, her mother cried. I should have let the wild animals devour you instead of hiding your twin sister. What course did I marry into? That mention of her twin sister lit a fire in Ugo's eyes. She had heard rumors of a sister hidden and sent to the evil forest years ago. Now she wanted to find her. Ugo packed a small bag and began her journey, traveling through villages and asking for anyone who resembled her. Most people just shook their head. Some laughed, and one woman offered her fried plantains out of pity. Eventually, she arrived at Agolo, where King Ofodili spotted her. He gasped. Such resemblance. Could it be? He welcomed her like lost royalty. I know where your sister is, but you must do something for me. Ugo agreed, even before hearing what it was. Disguised, Ugo made her way into the palace, hiding in shadows and storerooms. There she met Ada, a bitter maid. Since she became queen, she talks like she owns the air we breathe, Ada hissed. Really? Her voice startled her. My queen, please, do you need anything? She asked. I am not your queen. I am her sister. That makes the two of us then, Ugo said, the side of her lips twitching. The deal was sealed. Over the next few weeks, Ada reported Azuka's every move, for a fee of course. Ugo's stomach began to show, but she didn't care. She was a woman on a mission. One quiet afternoon, with King Amuche away visiting a friend, Ugo struck. Using Ada's help, she slipped into the palace, entered Azuka's room, scratched her own face till blood ran, and then let out a scream that shook the guards out of their sandals. Help me! She's trying to kill me. I don't even know her. The guards rushed in. Azuka, stunned and confused, held a comb in one hand and a bead in the other. What's going on? Silence! One guard barked. You are coming with us. As they dragged her away, Azuka's eyes met Ugo. The resemblance was haunting. Azuka didn't even have time to speak before the heavy palace doors shut behind her. The palace air was still thick with shock after Azuka's sudden arrest. The queen, beloved and graceful, was now sitting in a dungeon, bruised by betrayal, locked away like a common criminal. Upstairs, Ugo was living her best life. She had stepped into Azuka's shoes so well, you'd think she rehearsed for the role her whole life. From posture to soft tuning of her voice to the giggle Azuka gave when shy, she had it all, except one thing, a heart. As Azuka screamed for help in the dungeon, Ugo stood behind the palace curtain smirking. Her plan was unfolding perfectly. Step 1 completed, she whispered to herself, stroking her belly. Just thinking of being queen made her tiles tingle. Now she wasn't just imagining the throne, she was sitting on it. In the cold dungeon, Azuka paced slowly, wrists tied, eyes wide with disbelief. The walls were wet and silent, her cries echoing off stone. Is this how my life ends? She wondered. Why does she look like me? Is she truly my sister? But how could she know? She had been abandoned at 2 years old, left in the forest like a forgotten fruit. The truth, unknown to her, now danced before her like a cruel joke. Still, she waited. Her heart clung to the hope that Amuche, her love, would return and see through the lies. King Amuche rode back to Ezioke, his horse galloping like his heart, eager to see his queen. As he stepped into the palace, Ugo rushed to him, arms wide. Obimnobi, she purred, using their private name for each other. He returned the hug, planting a kiss on her lips without hesitation. Strange, he thought, her lips feel different. His eyes widened as he spotted the red mark slashed across her cheek. Who did this to you? My sister, Ugo said, turning on the waterworks instantly. She came to the palace. She tried to kill me and our baby. Baby, you're pregnant? His jaw dropped. Yes, Obim, she nodded, voice trembling with fake emotion. Don't worry, I'll make her pay. What punishment do you desire? In this kingdom, anyone who tries to kill a royal must die under the fire of the nbebe tree, she replied calmly. Amuche hesitated. Are you sure? She's your sister. If she tried to kill me, would we be having this conversation? She snapped, hands folded over her chest like a disappointed mother. Then so be it. She will burn. Ugo beamed. That kiss he gave her afterwards nearly made her faint. She was in heaven. Queen Ugo of Ezioke. Azuka's hope crumbled the moment her look-alike walked into the dungeon, flanked by guards. Her heart stopped. Obimnobi, she screamed, it's me. Ugo smirked, caressing her baby bump. Obimnobi is mine now. You will be ashes before nightfall. Azuka fought. She beat, scratched, screamed, but the guards dragged her like a wild goat to the bembe tree, where firewood was already being stacked. Azuka's wrists were tied, her voice hoarse. Tears flowed down her cheeks like rivers from a broken dam. The fire was lit. All flames rose and heat began to kiss her skin. A strange growl echoed through the trees, then another and another. Soon, the crowd scattered for fear of the wild animals. Azuka's eyes shut as she felt her body heat rise. Back at the palace, Amuche sat on his table troubled. My heart is not at rest, he muttered. Obim, what's wrong? Ugo cooed, rubbing his shoulder. I can't stop thinking about your sister. That punishment felt too harsh. Too harsh? After she tried to harm your heir, she asked sweetly. Almost too sweetly. Still, something doesn't sit right. Forget her, she's gone. Let's talk about our baby, she whispered, dragging him towards the bedroom. Inside their chambers, Ugo threw herself at Amuche. She kissed him deep and fast, her fingers tugging at his clothes. Wait, he said, pulling back. Why the rush? We made love this morning. So? I need you again, she said, her eyes wild with hunger. But Amuche wasn't rising to the occasion literally. Are you tired, my love? She asked. Maybe, he said, confused. She tried everything. Her hands, her lips, She even went down on him, something the real Azuka never really liked doing, but nothing worked. Maybe some palm wine will help, she said, but this continued for days, then weeks. Amuche sought help, herbs, roots, oils, even rituals, nothing worked. Meanwhile, Ugo, bored and unsatisfied, began sleeping with the guards in secret. King Ofodili, the puppet master in the shadow, had been waiting for news that Amuche had died, but no such news came. She's enjoying the throne too much, he growled. Mother and son was beginning to question this new Azuka. It felt weird. Something about her movement, her sudden boldness, her really sharp tongue. It was all off. This wasn't the woman they knew. The change was too quick and Amuche could not help but think the worst. His mother narrowed her eyes each time Ugo, posing at Azuka, walked past. Azuka used to walk like a cat, graceful and quiet. This one stomped like a wrestler. And what was the sudden appetite for snail pepper soup? The real Azuka hated anything too spicy, she whispered to herself. Amuche, though still physically drawn to her, was emotionally drifting. Something was off, and he felt it in his bones. Far across the borders, Fodili was beginning to get impatient. He had waited and waited. He sent words to Ugo, once no reply. Twice she claimed to be busy with queenly duties. By the third time, Ugo could no longer pretend. She agreed to meet him, but on her own terms. She sneaked out of the palace on a cold evening. She walked quickly towards the border where Ofodili was waiting, pacing like a man with a goat in labor. As soon as he saw her, his eyes flared. I see. You have started biting the fingers that fed you, he said, his voice rising. We had an agreement, Ugo. Why are you wasting my time? He shouted, his footsteps echoing in the still night. Ugo looked down, her arms folded under her chest. I don't want to go ahead with this plan anymore, she said slowly. I think you should just let it be, or maybe I can settle you with gold, gems, whatever you want. Ofodili laughed loudly. Evil! His voice sounded like thunder, trapped in an iron drum. You foolish woman, you are messing with fire. How dare you throw your filthy coins at my face? He stepped close enough that their nose almost touched. But I forgive you, he said, suddenly calm, because I am merciful. Then his voice turned dark. If you do not do as I have said, in the next 2 weeks, you will have me to contend with. Imagine how Amuche will behave when he finds out you are not his real wife and the father of the bastard you are carrying. Ugo flinched. He's already questioning your identity, isn't he? As much as I hate this, your sister was an angel, and you are a devil. He spit to the side. 2 weeks is too much, but it's enough time for you to prepare, mentally, physically, even financially. He didn't wait for her reply. He turned, mounted on his horse, and vanished into the dark like the villain in the village folktale. Ugo stood there, heart racing. She wanted to scream, to curse herself, to throw stones into the night. Now that I am enjoying the luxury I have dreamed of for years, it's all going to vanish into thin air. She laughed bitterly. Indeed, they say, never have an agreement with the devil. She began walking back towards the kingdom slowly, as if her legs were tired to regret. But as it stands, we are both devils in this story. How can I tell Amuche that Ofodili is coming to take his throne and kingdom? How do I even tell him I knew all along? As she walked, she didn't know that dark eyes followed her in the shadows, a figure silent, watching and listening. When she arrived back in the palace, Ugo's mind was racing. Thoughts were fighting for space in her head, like market women arguing over stolen tomatoes. Her instinct kicked in. I need to secure myself and the child I don't even care about. She began smuggling gold out of the palace. At first, it was just 1 bag every 2 days. She stuck them under her wrapper, hidden in baskets of dry fish and mixed with yam she donated to the market. But greed is a hungry spirit. Soon she doubled it to 2 bags. One of those days, a guard caught her. She had just slipped out of the palace gate, her wrapper tied carelessly, a small bag clutched tightly at her side. Even though she was the queen, the king had ordered that anyone leaving the palace must be searched. She raised a brow as the guard stepped in front of her. "Your Majesty," the guard said, standing upright but clearly nervous. "His Highness has ordered that all bags must be inspected before leaving the palace grounds." "Step aside," she said coldly. "I am sorry, my queen, I can't." She raised her chin and tried to walk around him. He moved again, blocking her path. She hissed sharply, lips twitching with anger. "You will regret this," she warned. But the guard held his position. He raised a hand to signal another nearby. Before he could say more, she snatched his machete from his waist with speed that shocked even her, and with one clean sudden motion, she stabbed him. He gasped, stumbled, and fell to the ground, blood soaking the earth beneath him. Her hands trembled, but her legs moved fast. She ran. By the time she returned, her wrapper had been adjusted, her bag now empty. When word spread of what had happened, she pretended to be surprised. She placed her hand on her chest, her face twisted into perfect mask of royal shock. "A palace guard killed? Oh no, how tragic," she cried. Questions were asked, whispers danced through the palace halls. She walked through the palace with calculated grace, but deep inside she was shaking. That night, while they both lay in bed, Amuche turned to his fake wife. "Where have you been running off to these days?" he asked. "I barely see you around the palace." She sat up slightly, her tone sharp. "Oh, really? I didn't know I needed permission to go out." Amuche froze. Azuka. His real Azuka would never say that to him. He rubbed his temples slowly, choosing his words carefully. "Oh no, Achalugom. You know we haven't spent quality time recently. We used to share everything, and I miss you." She turned to face him, her lips curled in mischief. "Oh, really? Then make love to me." She pounced on him without waiting for his response. Amuche shifted confused. "Azuka, I was trying to talk, like we always do. All you want to do is make love." She scoffed, turned on her side. "What other quality time is there without making love? Please, oh, if you don't want to make love, or your little pim-pim is not working, then there is nothing for us to talk about." She pulled the covers over herself and closed her eyes. Amuche laid back, but something didn't feel right. Not with her, not with him, not with anything. He drifted into a troubled sleep. In his dream, a faceless man handed his wife a dagger. She smiled, turned and stabbed him. He jolted awake, cold bombs covering his arm. He didn't move, but he felt it. The bed dipped at his side, slowly and silently. She was sitting up beside him. He closed his eyes again, just a crack, and saw the blade glint in the moonlight. "You were my only ticket to live a good life," she whispered, "and it pains me that I will have to kill you, so you can join your wife in the afterlife." She raised the knife, but before she could strike, he grabbed her wrist. She gasped. "Eh? You're awake? I was just..." He sat up slowly, his eyes full with tears. "I will treat you the way nobody has ever been treated." He said nothing more. He stood, pulled her by her wrapper, and dragged her into the dungeon, ignoring her screams. He locked the cell and turned his back. He went back to his chambers. He dropped to the floor. He cried. Why? Why didn't I think twice before telling her to take care of her sister? He punched the ground. Why didn't I object? Why didn't I visit her? I would have known. He gripped the ends of his rope. What even got into me? Busy days, he shouted, and even the walls seemed to shiver. I am an idiot. I am not fit to call you my wife, Azuka. He rocked himself slowly, voice cracking. I feel so ashamed, Obim. I am so sorry. I am sorry, he cried. His sobs were thick with emotion. Please forgive me, my only love. But it was too late. His Azuka was burned to death. Soon, his mother came, knocking gently at his door. But he didn't open the door. She sat outside, arms folded, her own eyes filled with silent prayers. She waited there the entire night until dawn. At the early hours of the morning, Amuche emerged. No words, just fire in his eyes. He walked straight past his mother. His feet were heavy with purples. I want to kill, he whispered, but not before they suffer. Amuche entered the dungeon. Ugo sat slouched, chains around her wrist. She looked up, eyes swollen from tears. Talk, he said simply. She confessed everything, every word, every betrayal, every lie. When she was done, he clapped his hands. A female warrior entered, tall and fierce, her palms itching. With no hesitation, he gave Ugo 6 hot slaps across the face, one for every sin the warrior muttered. Ugo cried like a child, holding her face, snot and tears running freely. Please have mercy for the sake of my child. Amuche stepped forward, voice deep, trembling. The pain you feel is not even a fraction of what my wife Azuka felt, running alive under that tree screaming for help. When I am done with you, even if you reincarnate, you will see evil and then you will turn the other way. Ugo cried, but it was too late to turn back the hands of time. Regret washed over her like a cold water from a clay pot. She had never thought beyond herself, only herself, always herself and no one else. Not the sister she betrayed, not the king she deceived, not the innocent child she carried. Ofodele did not see it coming. He was ambushed. Amuche and his warriors struck like thunder in a dry sky. There was no mercy, no escape. He was killed along with his family at large. But even that couldn't lessen the pain Amuche carried around in his chest, like a burden trapped with iron chains. It had been 1 year already. Ugo gave birth inside the dungeon. No one told her the gender. No one brought her the child. She heard no cry, saw no face, felt no warmth. Even after birth, she was never released. Amuche allowed her to heal, then her punishment continued. 3 years down the line, the pain still felt fresh, as though it had just happened yesterday. His mother had been sick, her back bent lower, her spirit quiet. He knew deep inside it was the pain of losing a daughter. Not just a daughter, a good daughter, a wife to her son, a woman who gave light to the palace. It was a really sunny day. The heat sizzled on rooftops. The people crowded the stream, bathing, laughing, cooling themselves. Back at the palace, it was quiet until a young woman made her way through the palace gate. Ghost! Ghost! Someone shouted, running behind trees, behind pillars. But she didn't look at them. She kept walking. Calm, eyes ahead. No one stopped her. They feared what they didn't understand. Amuche stepped out of the corridor. His eyes caught her. His chest tightened. Am I dead? He asked softly. She said nothing, just kept walking towards him. Did you forgive me, my love? I am glad we have reunited. Is this our son? He asked, tears already dancing in his eyes. Is it possible to give birth in the spirit world? He asked as he walked into her embrace. She began to cry. Her body trembled in his arms. Why are you crying, Obim? He whispered. We were made to believe there is no pain or tears in the afterlife. Obim Nobi, she said, voice cracking. We are not dead, we are alive. He pulled away sharply. You are alive, how? Before that, let me introduce you to our son, Ikenna. How? He repeated, stunned. She took his hands. Come, she said gently. As they walked, the guards and maid who had scattered began to peek out from behind pillars and corners. They looked at her in disbelief, mouth open, hands over hearts. She stopped, looked into his eyes. I really thought you would come and save me, but I never saw you. Instead, I saw my sister, a sister I didn't even know I had. She looked down. That is the past now. When I was tied to that tree that night, I thought of my death. My pain flashed through my eyes, and I imagined I'll never see you again. She gripped his hands tighter. I don't know what happened, but the people started to run. I was weak. Darkness took over me. I later woke up in a strange place. The goddess of justice who inhabits the nbebe tree. She saved me. She nurtured me until I gave birth. I wanted to come back, but she told me it was not time. She looked up at him again. Now we are here. Amuche kissed her like he would never get the chance again, like her lips were life itself. He fell to his knees. Thank you, my chi, he cried, for giving me a second chance. Azuka rushed to look for Mama. The old woman had not stood up from her bed in weeks, but when she saw Azuka, she stood up quickly like something had lifted her bones. Azuka, my child, she cried. She held her tight, and even tighter when she saw the child. This place has been lonely without you. I am so grateful to Osebuluwa for saving you. That night, Amuche had his fill of Azuka. 3 years without intimacy, 3 years without love, and finally his heart could rest. And this time, his manhood did not fall, even after doing the do for hours. They laid in each other's arms, breathless. I'm sorry, he whispered again. I have forgiven you, she replied softly. This is a lesson, she added. For us all, never make an important decision in haste. She asked about her sister. He told her. Give her back her child, Azuka said. Send her away. I never want to see her face again. All I need is the address to my village. I want to meet my parents. And Amuche did just that. Ugo wanted to see Azuka to apologize, but Azuka declined. With nothing left, Ugo took her child and left the palace. She returned home to the dry village she once spat on, and she spent the rest of her days making amends. I really hope you have enjoyed the story. Please don't forget to like, comment, and share. I will really love your thoughts on this story. See you in the next one. Bye.